All right, folks. Well, we've got our blink ring. The next thing we might want to do is think about trying to keep Bebop and Rich Dog at least a little bit more on their guard so they don't feel quite so cavalier about coming into our base. It's also going to advance our next major plot point, or rather, our next major goal, which is to master necromancy. It's still on the board. And we've got an awful lot of stuff that we're going to want here. Now, the goal is to create a fetish. A fetish is a thing which allows us to basically bind undead, bind spectral undead, so ghosts, specters, spirits, and the like, into specific places. Now, this is actually not as hard as it sounds, but it will require us to do a little bit of work. What we're going to need specifically is to make some necromantic stones. I already have, you may have noticed this up here, I have one of these braziers. These are basically things you can put stuff into them and burn them, and then they do, if there's an altar nearby, they do magical effects. We need to relocate the altar into this wall so that this middle circle is in fact clear, and then we'll need to make a few more of these braziers. What we're then going to do is try and basically create a situation where we can bind things into the fetish. So let me go and make the stones, because the stones are not too hard to make. In fact, they're pretty easy, but they do need a little bit of time, and you need some spectral dust, which we don't have a ton of. As you can see, we've only got 9, but you can trade with undead for it, so if necessary, if I start running out, I'll get more, but I think we have enough to do what we want to do. Specifically, we need to summon, we're going to make a fetish that specifically keeps away intruders. Now, to do that, we're not going to summon a banshee, right, which is a little bit more complicated. We're actually going to summon a Spectre, which is a little bit easier, and we've got a bunch of wool of bats recently, so we're going to make some graveyard dust. We've been growing wormwood outside, which is a mutation recipe I did during a live stream, so this is quite a bit easier. And then the spirits are things that you capture in there, but first, let's go ahead and relocate the altar and then set up how we're going to contain those things. Alright folks, so I'm just making the other necromantic stone. I've got a few in my hand now. I've got one in my bag. Hop, there we go. So we can use these downstairs to quickly make some more of those braziers. So if we just go ahead and brazier, and then we'll make a few other things that we need to get this done. So we need 4 sticks, and so we need 2 of those, and then we need 4 iron. Now, while we're at it, we should probably focus on some other stuff too. For example, we're going to need, in this case, 2 more things which we can use. We're going to need to make a bowline. This is a tool that we use, basically, it's sort of like the Arthana from Witchery, only with less combat application. It's more about specifically harvesting things, and basically it's a better harvesting tool. And it's useful. We'll be using it for some of our recipes because essentially it sort of represents life and death in the harvest here. They can, harvest trap plants, cobwebs, a couple of little things. Pretty useful. And then what we're going to want to do is go ahead and lay things down up here. Oh, and we'll want to grab a redstone and some slime ball. Now, the reason we want these is because we're going to be dealing with hostile undead in our base, and we definitely don't want to have a situation where things get out of hand. What I mean by things get out of hand is that we have rogue undead running around trying to kill Sue's familiar. Any number of terrible things could happen. Oh, bye, Bebop. So we want to make sure that this happens like so. Boop, there we go. Now, this is a rite of imprisonment. And what this does is basically prevent anything from leaving the circle. And it's an ongoing ritual. So now any sort of entity, now we can walk through unhindered, however, any sort of monster cannot. Hopefully that'll work right. And as you can see, our altar power is slowly going up, but much more slowly than normal because this is taking away about 16 altar power a second. So not a lot, but not a little. Now, the goal here is going to be basically to set up quickly the conditions for binding a fetish, right? And then we're basically going to summon some undead. We're going to let loose some spirits. They're not going to be able to get away. And then we're going to remotely trigger the ritual to bind them together. I think to do this, there's an object I was just taking a look at that I think could help us from open blocks called a pointer. It is not very hard to make at all. So let's go ahead and just make this really fast. Oop. I'm sorry, I didn't mean the pointer, I meant the cursor. It's easy to get those two mixed up. The pointer's for aiming cannons. So let's go ahead and try that. Almost made the wrong one. Not that we really care, we have all the wool we could ever want. Now, this is a pretty simple thing to use. You basically shift right click to set something. And then, I just turned the ritual off because we're going to turn it back on by requesting redstone and a slime ball. And we're going to use the pointer to click it. So with this, we'll be able to actually toss things in and not really get ourselves beaten up by our undead. Then we can step back behind a wall and just wait. So let's go ahead and set up the ritual as we need. One there and one there. Now we'll shift right click this, and now if we just right click this anywhere, poof, we basically have a remote control ritual. Now this only works for one block at a time, so we'll have to be a little bit careful with it, but we could also shut it off. Now, let's see. We also need to actually make the fetish we want to bind. Now the ritual of binding, so that's the rite of imprisonment. So let's take a look at the ritual of binding. When we want binds up to 3 spectral creatures into a stone. No, we're not doing that one. Into a we need a scarecrow and a tombstone, necromantic stone, and a bowling. So this is well within our capabilities, and we have the 11 by 11 circle. What we need to do is get the things that we need. We need to summon 3 specters, and I believe 3 spirits, I think it is, from the spirit world. So let's go ahead and take a look. So we need a sentry, fetish binding, voodoo protection, sentinel. We need a sentinel. So we need 3 spirits and 3 specters, and they need to be in the circle when that happens. And that binding ritual takes an outer circle. So they can move a little bit, and we're not going to lose them right away, but they should summon inside the circle, basically near that. And to that end, we're also going to rearrange these things so that they're a little bit more in the center of everything, and hopefully that will encourage things to spawn there, because we definitely don't want them to run amok, because they're actually quite dangerous and a little bit expensive to summon. So why don't we go ahead and actually make the fetish that we need now. Alright folks, I've opted for using a witch's ladder because it's a little bit less assuming than the other totems, and for us it's cheaper because we have a lot more fanciful thread than tormented twine lying around right now because of the recent stuff we've been doing with our other endeavors. So let's go ahead and request this, and as you can see we can just request it outright, and we have the 2 string. We just need the twine or the thread, and we have a witch's ladder. Now, of course, we need to make sure to have the things we need for the summonings, which include wormwood, wool of bat, and graveyard dust. So we need 3 graveyard dust, which is not too hard to make. Just 3 of these. So let's request 1, 2. Oh, we're missing mutandis. And there we are, 3 graveyard dust, 3 wool of bat, and then we need 3, what was it? We needed 3 wormwood. Ah, yes, wormwood. So let's go ahead and grab 3 of those as well. Now these have been growing outside, so these are pretty easy to make now. Alright, so let me just request an attuned stone to percolate up through the system as we go. So now what we're going to do is prep our ritual, and then we're going to basically quickly undo and redo this. So first of all, we need to put a graveyard dust in each of these, and then we need to put a wool of bat in each of these. I don't think the order matters. I hope the order doesn't matter because these are expensive recipes. And then we put the wormwood in each of these. There we are. Now, when we light these, they will begin to do their necromantic work. And of course, that should be sufficient for us. Why don't we also prep the ritual while we're here? We need to put in a tombstone, a bowline, which will not be consumed. It's just there as kind of a catalyst. And, let's see, a witch's ladder. And I believe we need to get a necromantic stone. And I'll double check this recipe again in a second. I think I have it in one of these bags. Yeah, there we go. This is the one I keep around so I can order the undead. But we're going to be using it for a better purpose right now. And I believe that will be, in fact, consumed. So let's just double check the recipe. Scarecrow, a tombstone, necromantic stone, and bowline. And it's fine to use something besides a scarecrow for this binding. We're going to have a silent version of this. So now if we were to click this, it would try and fail because it wouldn't succeed. And let's just make sure we don't need to do this at night, as far as I know. So with that in mind, let's go ahead and get some flint and steel, which we didn't even have any crafted of. And we also need to get some subdued spirits. Just 3 of these should do. Now these guys shouldn't be able to fly away as far as I know. I hope anyways, but they need to be within the circle as well. And so these subdued spirits basically will just get pulled in. So we can revive subdued spirits by putting them right here. Right? So now they're going to fly about a little bit. They'll find that they can't leave. So let's go. You see they're going to kind of bounce around a little bit. And hopefully they won't be able to leave the circle. I hope. They're not supposed to be able to anyways. But you never know with these guys. So now let's next try to light these things and call our specters. 1, 2, 3. All 3 specters should be coming in at once, and hopefully they won't be able to leave either. Now they're not perfectly invisible, but they are hard to see. Now just in case things do get grim, I'm going to arm myself. But we should see them start to do their dark work. I see 1, I see 2, I see 3. All right. And some of them have already tracked onto us. Let's see if we can lose their aggro. Yeah, they definitely, as you can see, they're hard to see, and they're quite dangerous. So what we're going to do is try and get away from them entirely. In fact, you know what we're going to do? Really fast, while we have them under containment, and boy, they are trying hard to get to us, aren't they? We're going to quickly order up some cobblestone in the door, and let's just go ahead and actually wall this off so that they can't get away no matter what. Let's just pick up a stack of this. And all right, we can see them now. Now, what we're going to do is look really close. Now, if I were to get a little bit closer, they might be able to figure out what's going on. So let's go ahead and just as a other precaution, let's just kind of wall this up. I don't think they can go anywhere else but inside the circle if I just do this. Now, I don't think this is strictly necessary, but I think it's one of those things that's just good practice. And it means we won't be able to see it until the very end, but that's probably okay. So let's go ahead and close the door. We can hear their heavy breathing in the background. I'm not sure if that comes through in the video, but it's definitely there. And now we're going to right-click once and then again. And that should cause little puffs of smoke to start appearing over there. We can go ahead and check out what's going on over here. Looks like maybe it didn't go. Maybe we should have used glass. Uh-oh. Looks to me like maybe the ritual isn't firing. What are we going to do about this? Well, I suppose what we're going to do is put on our tankiest armor. Actually, you know what we could do? We're pretty strong. I don't know if you've noticed, but we're pretty strong. So why don't we just cast Mana Shield and wait in there with them? They won't be able to do any damage to us, I think. We'll test that really fast. Because that may just be the easiest solution for all these. Because they really want to get to us. So if we can just stand amongst them and sort of cheese it out with our awesome defensive capabilities. So let's cast Demonic Fortitude, my Mana Shield spell. Now we have Mana Shield. We should just be able to walk right in here. And yeah, they can't do anything to us, although they're trying. You can watch my mana sort of play around as they hit us. Now, let's make sure to renew this spell, because it doesn't have an infinite amount. And let's also just sip a mana potion. That's the last of the bunch. But that should let us go in here and actually manipulate the spells directly. So let's turn off this spell and turn on the next one. One got away. Yeah. One got away. That's fantastic. Well, we're going to have to figure out how to get him back. And we're going to have to find him to do it. Why do things always end up this way? We have got a Spectre on the loose. Oh, there he is. He's down here. This is actually tense. I'm not sure how I'm going to catch him. But I saw him out of the corner of my eye. Now, fortunately, here he is. Buddy, you can't keep doing this to me. Do I have a Safari Net launcher? He's immune to capture. Well, I guess it can't be helped. He's got to be put down. Because we can't have him running around. If Sue finds him, he'll be in bad shape. I guess we could try a Golden Lasso really fast, although I doubt that's going to work on a hostile mob. Got to be more careful with these things. They're slippery. We might be able to cheese it out if we were to make a force flask, which I think we might have stuff lying around to make. Do we have any of these? Yeah, we actually have a couple force nuggets lying around. Might be able to actually just make this outright. And I think this will let it move. Although I'm also a little bit afraid of crashing, so... Alright, the server backup is done. Let's see if we can find this. They're so tricky. Aha! They love to hide. Looks like I can't even pick it up with this, can I? That's amazing. Well, can't be helped. We'll have to waste the materials and get another one. Shouldn't be too bad now that we know that we can just basically walk in there. We'll use blink so that we don't have to break containment. And I have to think about how to be a little bit more clever about this. Now, some of you watching may be like, hey, Dave, it seems to me a little strange that you can kill these things and weather these things so easily. It's true. Any individual one is not that strong, but the fetish will just keep them coming. Also, not everyone is Ridgedog or I mean, we're also keeping out Bebop and Rebel Processing, and they're going to have a much harder time against these things. All right, friends, I count 1, 2, 3. Let's let off, and we have the ingredients we need. The Witch's Ladder, the Bowline, the Necromantic Stone, the Attune Stone. All right, let's let these guys off. And then we'll see if we can do this ritual. They shouldn't be able to leave. And they're hard to see, I know. And I think that did it. Now, where did the Witch's Ladder go? Oh, I have it. It is a Sentinel Witch's Ladder. And we still have one spirit left over somehow. Interesting. Well, that's cool. Cool, that's fine. We'll tell you what, Spirit, we're going to leave you here for now, because you're cool. You're definitely cool. Let's teleport over here. Just go right through the wall. Oh, didn't quite make it as far as I'd hoped. Now, all we have to do is, well, we want to make sure we have our bowling out. And we'll go ahead and just, how about we just put this right, where is it going to cause the most confusion and havoc, I think? Maybe right here? Yeah. So that looks pretty good. Looks like it's kind of hanging down. Now, if we right-click it, we can harvest it with the bowling, and if we right-click it, nope, that's not what we want to right-click. If we right-click it with the bowling, activate for players in blacklist. Activate for anything not in the whitelist, which I am in the whitelist implicitly. But let's activate for all. We're going to activate for players not on the whitelist. And now we better go run over and grab a tag lock of Paprika Sue. Because we definitely want to allow her in here. She is one of our friends. A very good friend, really. So we'll let her in. So we just tap this tag lock. So it won't activate for me, but it will activate for her. Or it won't activate for her, but it will activate for anybody else who comes in. So when they come in, Spectres are going to come pouring out, and they are going to start attacking. We'll add some more things over time. But I think that that's a pretty good start for now, as that makes this room substantially more dangerous and confusing. And the Sentinel spirits will even get caught up in the Arcane Elevator and chase people out if they go up that way, because it'll chase them and try and reach them, and then it'll get stuck in the... Whoa. So, am I not in the whitelist? Is that what you're saying? But I think with that, she'll be able to enter the room. Yeah, I think we're safe. I think just... Ah, yes, that's the pup that says that we're allowed and no one else is. Excellent. All right, folks. Well, I think that that's done. I'm not going to call us masters of necromancy yet, but I want to say that's a pretty good start. We summoned some dead, we bound them to a fetish, and we put them to our will. The next step, the problem is someone could come along and just break this. So probably the next thing we want to work on is making it so that that's not possible. It's a little bit tricky. There's a way we could do it. There's two ways we could do it. We'll do it the hard way because it'll open up some other things, and also this is the name of the series, The Hard Way. And then we'll move on to a slightly more normal thing. But you can be sure, as I gather more spectral dust, that I will also be running around here and doing my best to create a lot more of these Sentinel fetishes. Because if we can just litter our base with these fetishes, well then, and we're pretty much in the clear in terms of base defense. We'll have one of the most well-guarded bases, and it'll be terrifying to boot.